Chivayo is not giving people cars out of love. It's a scheme. It's a great and a grand political scheme. It's like it's a political hen laying eggs. They will hatch very soon. And I'm telling you, one day tables are going to turn. And when the tables turn, an audit shall need to be done. It's very easy, Brethren Helen, to prove that Chivayo is not giving out these cars from his businesses. It's easy. If politics was not involved, it's easy. You simply evaluate the cars that he has given and the value of the cars he has bought for himself. And then the Zimra, the tax collecting company, just says, show us your tax returns that prove that you made the profit that enabled you to buy these cars. You don't have to show me your memorandum of association or your registration certificate. All those are not documents that can prove that you are using legitimate means to get money. Tax returns. I don't know if we have done that in Zimra or not. Tax returns are the simplest way to prove somebody's worth. If you have $1 million in your account, Brethren Helen, and we suspect you of doing illegal things, the government will simply say, how did you earn $1 million? Either you are employed. We want to see the money trail from your employer to your bank account. We want to see your letter of appointment. We want to see your pay slip. We want to see how much of pay as you earned did you pay to have $1 million as net salary. If it is your net profit, we want to see your tax returns. It's simple. You don't have to be an economist to understand what we are talking about. So when we say Chivayo is using stolen money, we know he can't prove what we are saying here in any court of law. But let us read Jeremiah chapter 17, verse number 11. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 11. I would like us to read it again in the NASB so that we may get a simplified version. I want the etymology to be simplified there for clarity's sake. Yes.
As the partridge sits on eggs and hatches them not, so he that gets riches and not by right shall leave them in the midst of his days, and at his end shall be a fool. Am I? How do you read it?
I want to see if we can get the definition of a partridge. But can we read it again in the NASB?
As a partridge that hatches eggs which it has not laid, so is he who makes a fortune but unjustly. In the midst of his days it will forsake him, and in the end he will be a fool.
All right. A partridge is any of various, typically medium-sized, stout-bodied, old-world gallinaceous birds, the related genera, with variegated plumage that are often hunted as game. So, as the partridge sits on eggs and does not hatch them, so is he that gets riches, and not by right. He shall leave the riches in the midst of his days, and at his end he shall be a fool. This is my prophecy. This is my prophecy to weaken El Chapo Chivayo.
It reminds me of Proverbs 18, verse 11.
Before we go there, could we look at the NLT? I want to see if it can simplify it further. Give us the New Living Translation on Jeremiah 17, verse 11. Mine's going to verse C. Pastor, can you read the Shona version, please?
The NLT.
Yes.
Like a partridge that hatches eggs she has not laid.
Yes.
So are those who get their wealth by unjust means.
Aha.
Yes.
Yes.
At midlife, they will lose their riches. In the end, they will become poor old fools. Yes.
Yes, this one is clarified it and simplified more. A partridge hatches eggs which it has not laid. So are those who get their wealth by unjust means. At midlife, they will lose their riches in the end. They will become poor old fools.
Yes.
Read the Shona. They will become poor old fools.
Yes.
Read the Shona version.
segwari rinogarira mazai harisina kukandira rimene ndizvo zvakaita iye unozviwanira pfuma nokusarurama. Ichamusiya pakati pemazuva ake, pakupedzisira kwake richava benzi.
Case closed, brother.
Well, since
I saw the once famous radio presenter begging for money, Simon Pashomanguve. He said, I'm living in extreme poverty. Despite my illustrious career at Radio Zimbabwe, I can't even take care of myself. And I saw that Chivayo gave him some money, if I'm not mistaken. Now, what Zimbabweans are failing to realize is that when you are under a dictator puts the nation in an extreme impoverished situation. And by so doing, his agenda is to squeeze you so that you have no choice but to look up to him for salvation. So he creates a problem, and then he comes back pretending to be a solution to the problem that he has created. And the other reason why dictators love to put people in extreme poverty, it is because hungry people cannot go to war. So the more the people are poor and hungry in our country, the lesser the chances of a civil unrest in Zimbabwe. Because you can't walk on foot from Epworth to Harare in a protest when you haven't had a decent meal in the last 4 days. So it's a political strategy to prolong their days, gripping onto power by unorthodox means. Why am I saying this to people? It doesn't apply to Zimbabwe alone. Let us ask ourselves a very, very serious question. Why does a person need a donation of a car? A person who worked hard until he went for retirement for a national radio broadcast a company like Simon Pashomanguve. Why does he need a donation of a car? Why does Nicholas Zachariah need a donation of a car? What necessitated the need? The answer is a dysfunctional economy. The musicians are not making money from their music because you are the consumer of that music and you are always broke. Most of the people who listen to their music, they are not buying it from original distributors. They are pirated. So Machenso doesn't get half of the money that people are paying for his music. There is no job, so most of our youths are burning music inside their homes, selling them behind closed doors and behind curtains. To those who are desperate, they can't buy the original copy as well because they can't afford. So ZANU-PF destroys the economy until a popular musician is so sick that he can't get treatment at our national hospitals. The same ruling party that has destroyed the hospital offers him money to go to India for treatment. And instead of the nation to say it's your fault, you destroyed Parrenyatwa Hospital. This man does not need to fly to India for medical treatment if you had not destroyed Parrenyatwa Hospital. Instead of us to confront them and say, fix our hospitals, we are clapping hands for them. They have rescued one of our own who has suffered from a sickness. He can't be treated locally. There is no disease that cannot be treated in Zimbabwe. Not even one. We have one of the best trained medical practitioners who, upon leaving Zimbabwe, they get senior jobs in esteemed institutions all over the world. They are leaving because the state has made it impossible for a professional to thrive. You understand? As I speak now, doctors are earning $500 at public institutions. What nonsense is that? And the money that doctors are getting now cannot pay school fees for one semester if they go back to school right now. It doesn't make sense. So this is where we are. A musician like Kafupi and a comedian should be able to buy himself that small car. Prayzah does not need a donation of a car. You understand? They destroy the economy, then they take all the money into their pockets. They start giving it to whomever they want. Instead of us demanding accountability on the money, our money that they are stealing, we now see them as saviors. We call them says when they are thieves who are supposed to be in prison. But my advice, brethren, Helen, to those who are receiving those cars, I want you to do 2 prayers. Number 1, pray that this rogue government stays in power long enough that by the time they lose power, that car will be long forgotten. Because if we get a God-fearing, accountable government, you are going to be asked to pay back the value of that car when it was new. Because if you receive stolen property, you are an accomplice in theft. Number 2, pray that this government stays in power forever. For this case never to come back again. I can assure you, brethren, Helen, it will be embarrassing very soon. We are going to hear people saying, we are sorry, we didn't know that the money was stolen. We are saying it now. Take my words and lock them up in a very safe place. The time will come. Make sure kuti munoita minamato miviri. Wokutanga ndokuti motikari iparare vanhu vokukanganwa nezvayo. Hurumende iyi isati yabva kana kuti munamata hurumende iyi irambe ichikotonga. Which prayer will not be answered. Their time is up. Very soon we are going to have a Trump situation in Zimbabwe. You are going to see. And my question is, how do you feel to park a donated car in another person's house? Uri roja wakatengerwa mota unonzwa sei? Especially when your landlord has no car. Landlord wako akavakaimba anotenga mota. Iwo wapowa mota yemahara. Ndiwo kunduidza petrol pambapaki makusenegeka. Vum. Aona kuti pane kakusakwana katinako so. Kekuti unopaka mota yekupiwa pamba pekuroja. Said. But this is why we continue to say the government alone is not to blame. Our society is enabling the entrenchment of perpetual subjugation on the people. We are the enablers. Nana mai chisamba vataitofungawo kuti vanhu vane hunhu vakadzikama. Takaona vakuimba ndonzwa manhanga kutapira. Vatengerwa fortuna, imagine fortuna. An ordinary fortuna. Kwakuimba ndonzwa kunaka dzokorora mukadzi mukuru kudaro so. Akomana. Isu taiti munyika tichasarwa nevakadzi vakuru vakazvidzora, vakazvininipisa. Vanodzorawo vana kana vakurasika. Kana wikinewo akarasika achadzorwa nani? Nekurasika kwese kwaari kuitawo. Taita akasangana namai chisamba achadzorwa. Zvinaiwa. Ndo vari kutoimba ndonzwa kunaka dzokorora. You can't sell your soul for a gift. And this is what we are teaching our people these days in our ministry. We want our people to be so independent in all aspects of their lives as princes, so that when such stupid things happen, you are strong enough to say no to an ungodly gift.
Yes.
I don't need a car from Chivayo. And this is why I'm able to speak like this. I'm not only rejecting it because it's wrong, I'm also rejecting it because I don't need it.
Oh, yes.
This is what we hope our people will become one day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Apostle. Indeed, the situation that is in Zimbabwe right now is a bit worrying. It's almost like a political Stockholm syndrome.
Yes.
The person who has kidnapped you, now you are clapping for them, and you think they are your hero.